What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Worldly Church Girl. It's your girl, your host, Lillian Harshaw. On today's show, I have the honor and privilege to introduce to you an author, a singer, a songwriter. She was also nominated for a Dove and a Stellar Award, and she received Grammy recognition. She is the bomb. Do y'all hear me? It gives me honor to introduce to you Miss Lisa McClendon. So you were born in a small town in Florida. You are the quote-unquote PK. You began singing in church at 12 years old, and then you put out an album with Epic Records alongside with Integrity Gospel titled Soul Music. And you received a Dove and Stellar Award nomination. And you also received recognition with the Grammy Awards. You're an author, a life coach for children, and you're an inspirational speaker. But I want to start with your foundation when you were singing in church. Do you remember the first song you sang?
I think that song, Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. But the one I remember is the newer version, the solo version. Jesus loves me, this I know. Not the one, Jesus loves me, this.
Mm-hmm.
The other version, when the church girls always be running and everything. That's the one I remember singing. I remember that because when I got home, my mama told me everything I did wrong. And I was like, really? Perfectionist. You did too much. You shouldn't have been doing all that. You know? Yeah, so that's my mother. My mother was like our singing coach growing up. Or she would say, you do all this at home. When you get in church, you get scared. So she's kind of be a little bit hard on me.
So I was going to ask you who's the singer in your family. So I'm going to take it was your mother.
Everybody. Mm-hmm. My mom sing. All my brothers and sisters sing. My youngest brother plays almost every instrument. My brother under me plays drums. My sister sings. My dad doesn't sing, but he plays every instrument. So like the standard guitar, bass, keys, drums. He did. So when we were growing up, we had a group called the People's Family. So we used to sing in church as kids with our parents playing, just like the Jackson 5.
What was your most fondest memory of that?
At that time, even though I loved singing, I would have rather been outside playing, just because I was a kid and I wanted to go outside and play. Mom was like, "Come in, it's time to practice," and we were like, "Oh man!" So I don't remember. I mean, I remember growing up later on and just loving music and singing, but at that time, during our family group, no, we wanted to go outside and play. Yeah, my mama she just knew that we had gifts and she was trying to, push it, but we weren't really ready for that. She planted the seed, so that was a good thing. She planted.
That's one of those PK things you don't get to do like all the other kids. You don't get to have fun.
No, you're just like, oh my God, can we just go play like kids? But yeah, we didn't appreciate it then, and rightfully so, we were kids. But there definitely was a seed planted. So when it came back around as I got older, I loved it because that seed was, like I said, was already planted.
Yes. Now your voice has been compared to Norah Jones and Lauryn Hill. I mean, good Lord, which is true. I mean, you have a beautiful voice. Mm-hmm. Now, what 3 words would you describe your voice as, your sound as?
I think I have a rich sound. So my voice is, over the years, my pitch has gotten higher, my pitch, but I really sing in the lower registry, so it's a warmer sound. I think it's soothing, and I say that I hate people say I gotta say it most humble way. I am humble. I don't have to say that, but I can sing to myself, and the right song I can find comfort, and that's big because I hear a lot of singers say stuff like, I don't like hearing me sing. I used to say that, but then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. If you don't like hearing you sing, why would other people like to hear you sing? I know where they're coming from, but I think we just been raised and taught to just be so modest. But my thing is, I just feel like if I don't own what God has given me, I feel like it's an insult. Like, I don't feel like God gets any glory from that. I just think it's false humility. And so for me, I see the beauty in the voice that God has given me. I hear the richness, I hear the soothingness, and I know there's an anointing and a gift to touch people. and I don't try to hide that to make other people feel comfortable. That's just, to me, that's fake.
They do try to teach you not to say thank you when someone gives you a
Oh,
compliment.
boy.
Why can't I say thank you?
And it's funny. Just as I've gotten older, I'll be 45 the end of this year. As I've gotten older, I think a lot more and I process things that I was taught, and I've had to relearn a lot of stuff in the last 3 years. And one of the things that came to me one day was like, you know what? I was like, people would teach us, and I know they meant well. I would teach us about, make sure you give God the glory, as if God was gonna be somehow as if God is inferior. And I had to get older to think, like, okay, this is God. Like,
Yes.
I don't think God feels threatened that I tell somebody thank you and they give me a compliment. Like, you make sure you give all the glory to God. Like, ooh. And I just, sometimes I kind of chuckle at, because it's asinine. It really is ridiculous. But I know we meant well. That it was meant well when it was said. But when you really think about it, and you really put God in God's proper place, which is everything, all thing, everywhere, all times, you're like, that's really ridiculous. That's how men think.
Yes.
Men feel threatened when they feel like they've helped you and you don't come back and say thank you, even though you are thankful. Men feel that way, but I don't. I don't have that kind of relationship with God. I just believe when I tell you thank you, I believe God is still pleased.
Yes.
I don't have to say our glory to God. That's when I open my mouth, glory was going to God. So.
Yes. So why can it be when I said thank you, I'm saying thank you to you and to God?
Bing, bing, bing. Bing, bing, bing.
How did you come up with your style of singing? Because it's not the traditional church singing, if you will. It's bluesier, it's jazzier. To me, it's dope as all get out. But but you're welcome. But some people will take it as, well, that's not traditional gospel music. I don't hear no organ in the background. I don't hear the bass in the background. I don't hear the drummers and the tambourine. So I ain't feeling it. How did you come up with your style?
I think it chose me. I was raised in the church, and my dad still is a pastor, actually. But my mother was raised in the church, but differently. So she wasn't in the traditional Pentecostal strict church. She was raised in a Baptist church, so they have a little more freedom. So I had a lot of balance in my house. And so I grew up listening to jazz. Like, my parents would go on trips, and they would bring me back artists that people in church really don't listen to. And my mother would always, her rule for me was, you know, be careful what you listen to, because back then, stuff come as subliminal messages. Now they use subliminal stuff. Kids hear on the radio is just right in your face.
Right.
But growing up, it was stuff that was said, and as a kid, I didn't really know what it meant, but my mom did. So she would just say, "Be careful what you're listening to," and then she would always tell me, "Don't fall asleep with the radio on." And she would say that because sometimes back in the day, radio stations would switch. You would go to sleep listening to a jazz station and wake up, and it's something totally different. And so she always told me this to make sure I didn't fall asleep. So if something changed in the night, it wouldn't be something that would just settle in my spirit. So my mom was really laid back. So I grew up listening to Ella. I listened to a lot of. I used to watch a lot of black and white movies with musicals. A lot
I
of
did too.
Oh, you my girl. I love I love musicals. I listen to a lot of quartet music, because my dad plays
Yes.
quartet. And really, if you think about quartet music, we try to act like quartet is our traditional, but that jump was jamming. Like,
Yes, it was.
like the bass line.
Yes,
That
it
was
was.
real
That was
soul.
bumping. Yes, it was.
Oh,
Yes, it was.
Miss Johnson, and the gospel keynotes, the soul stirrers, the
Yes.
Williams brothers, like, that is what I grew up on. All those sounds. It's like, if anybody said, it's not church, I'm like, then y'all obviously didn't listen to quartet music, because quartet music ain't nothing but soul music, or soul music ain't nothing but quartet music.
Yeah, it wasn't nothing but the blues.
It wasn't nothing but and that's where the blues come from. Most blues singers and players and stuff came out of the church.
Yes.
So to me, it was just the dopest genre of music, and I don't even hear much of quartets anymore. Not the way we grew up, but I love, oh my God, quartet. So that's where a lot of the stuff that came up from. Like I say, and I just listened to a lot of jazz, a lot of just instrumental jazz, and I really took a liking to jazz, and it just came out in my music as I got older.
I'm so glad to hear you say that you love those black and white movies because not too many people in our age group was on that, but I would be glued to the TV when Fred
I
Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and
Yes.
I used to love all that.
My mama used to come in the room. She'd be like, "Why you not outside with the kids?" I was in her room under the covers with the lights off on a Saturday, girl, on a Saturday, watching Dorothy Dandridge. You know, the movie
Yes,
her and Harry Belafonte. I love when February would come and they would have the Black History black and white movie months, and I would
yes,
see all the. I didn't know Pearl Bailey acted and all these people, and I would watch these black and white movies with people of color.
yeah,
And I would be so just amazed. And again, I love Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. I loved Danny Kaye,
yes,
Crown, and I just loved all that stuff. And just to see them dance, I just loved it. And I love the costumes more. What intrigued me was the costumes.
yes, that
Actually,
style.
I went to school for fashion design because of that.
Oh,
So
really?
I went to school for fashion design. I'm in school again now for psychology, but I went to school originally for fashion design because of black and white movies. I wanted to recreate glamour clothes. I love the clothes.
Yes.
That was
That
my
old Hollywood style was so dope.
yeah.
I'm like, those times for us wasn't good. I said, but those clothes were just so just clean. I'm like, they would be going to walk down to the park and they would just be sharp for no doggone reason. What,
In a house.
where did,
Do you
yeah,
see my house? Those glamorous with the fur on the wrist and the
yes.
love. Oh my God, just love. I'm gonna anyway, I loved it. I loved it.
Now, your daughter Diamond, she recently directed your music video, Brilliant.
Yes.
How did that come about? And she gave it kind of an Erica Badu flair to it too. But how did that come about?
Well, I had something to do with it too. Now,
Oh,
I,
okay.
she did more. She filmed it. She
Okay.
filmed it, and then we kind of I just we talked about the vision together. We did sit down together and come up with the locations and shots, and we talked through it together, like hand shots, head shots, with that kind of stuff. But I guided her through it because she had started doing a lot of videos, and I said, "Well, Diamond, would you be interested in doing my video?" She was like, "Sure." And until we started working, and she was like, "We doing this all day?" I said, "Yeah, this is an all day thing." But we took a break in between, went home and got something to eat and chill, and then we went back out and we finished up. But I was really, really, really proud of her. But no, she shot everything. She kept her eyes. She was just really, really attentive, and then we just kind of did the editing process together. But it was just I always been one. I've been real. Always been one involved. My mom was like that too. Just to keep our kids involved when we find that they're good at something, we try to
Mm-hmm.
find ways to have them exercise that gift. And I know I get that from my mom, and so I was just trying to pull something out of her. She's still doing videos today, but she's kind of private about it. She don't really look.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
she like
she got a talent because she
yeah,
had some good. I mean, it was a good eye. It was
yeah,
a really good eye.
yes, because she's on the other side of the camera, so she the one had to see what she was shooting. So you're absolutely right. Great. I was just really really proud of her. And
Gorgeous location. Was that in Florida?
yes, it was in Florida, South Florida. We went to different locations. We love well I don't know if they do, but I love nature. My son was there too, helping with props and stuff behind the scenes. But I love nature, and so I really wanted, and that's actually where the song came from, because
Okay.
I've always really been just enthralled with nature, and sometimes I just feel like the world we live in, even in church, we get so fixed on being in a building that
Mm-hmm.
we forget, like we don't pay attention to the earth that God has created, that is a reflection of who God is. And
Yes.
so there have been many times that we'd be driving and I tell my children, "Hey, y'all, cut your phones off just for the next 5 minutes, and I just want you to look out the window while I'm driving." And they'll just 5 minutes, they'll look at the grass, trees, they'll just, like I as an artist, I never want to be on anybody's stage performing and no one's paying attention.
Right.
We just feel like the earth is God's stage, and oftentimes we're never paying attention. We're not paying attention. And so that song "Brilliant" was just to kind of connect everyone back to how amazing God is beyond your house, beyond your job, beyond your car, just to be in the earth. This is how amazing God is.
Yes. I just thought about something. How does that make you feel as an artist when you see everybody not in the moment and they're sitting there with their cell phone out just recording you the whole doggone time versus being in the moment.
You
How
know,
does that feel?
that's a great question. You know what's funny though? My answer is really, really funny. There is no feeling because I'm in the moment. I don't see them.
Okay, good
That's funny
answer.
because I know it's
Mm,
happening. Just
mm.
because you're saying it, I'm like, you know what? She's right. I'm sure that's happening because we are in a technology era. But I'm so in the moment, I don't even see it. I don't. But I'm sure people out there, videos out, and they're recording, trying to, because of course, because I see it on YouTube later, and I'm like, oh, somebody on YouTube. You know, I was like, oh, I love that. But yeah, I'm so in. I'm so in. Yeah, I'm so in. I don't see him.
How do you do that? I mean, how do you get in the moment like that? Because I'm asking you this for a personal, selfish reason. Because
I'm like, who's
when
that?
when they have asked me to sing at church, I have to close my eyes. Even though I see these people all the time,
Mhm.
something about the pressure, everyone's looking at you now. And I'm like, even if I crack, these people ain't gonna say nothing. They're just gonna go ahead, baby. And which means that I knew I cracked.
Oh, you're right. I actually I have no fear of the stage, like none. It doesn't matter what stage I'm on, where I'm at. I have no fear, and I said that to say I used to have very terrible stage fright for years, and I am the testimony, if you will, of someone who had very, very bad stage fright that no longer has stage fright. Like I just chuckle because I'm like, I used to be the worst with stage fright, the worst. And the person that kind of mentored, not kind of, but actually mentored me, Shirley Smith, she just pushed me out there. Like I remember coming in one Wednesday night service, and our lead guy Tim wasn't there, and I said, Shirley, Tim's not here. What are we gonna do? And she was like, "You leading?" I can't lead. And I was like looking at her like, she said, "Why are you standing there? Grab the mic. Let's go." I was like, "Oh my God, you're kidding me." She said, "I'm not kidding. Grab the mic. Let's go." And that she was hard on me, but she saw something in me. To this day. I love that lady. And I grabbed that mic, and I tell you, Lillian, I was so scared. I shook the entire time. But the more I kept doing it, the less I shook. And I remember sitting in one of these services, a Sunday morning service, and it was a visiting pastor, and the church was packed. And that man was walking down the aisle preaching. And
Mhm.
he stopped in the aisle I was in. I wasn't even on the end. I was in the aisle, but I was in the middle. And he stopped and he looked at me. He pointed at me. He said, "Stand up." And I was like, "Who are you talking to?" I stood up, and he was like, "God said, you're bold as a lion. You're
Mm.
bold as a lion. You're bold as a lion. God is not giving you the spirit of fear." And I knew that was God speaking to me. And I had a friend just start working with me. We actually practiced on a woman's patio. She started working with me to get over my fear, and we worked. I had the remote in my hand, pretending like there was an audience, and she was like, "Keep your eyes open." I kept my eyes open, and I would go to church when I sang and practice what I learned on the patio. And then one day, I can't even tell you when, it just snapped. It just fell off me. I was no longer afraid. Like like overnight, I was no longer afraid.
Wow. Lord help me.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Now, let's talk about And She Lives Happily Ever After, My
Free.
Journey to Love After Divorce.
Right.
Was it hard for you writing about yourself?
No, no. And that book is actually my second book. I have three books. The first book is a devotional for girls called The Proverbial Girl. A book, 31 day devotional of wisdom, values, and being fabulous. That was the first book, and then after my second divorce, number two, uno, number dos, um, I had to have a real conversation with myself about my role in my life because my thing was, I remember sitting on the bed and I said, God, why? Like, why did this man abandon me? That was my word. It was abandon. Why did this man abandon me? And God said, you attracted who you are. You've been abandoned you.
Mm.
I remember that. I remember that. Because I remember going, huh? How did I abandon? Yeah, I remember thinking, like, how did I abandon me? I didn't abandon me. And I started thinking about when the signs were there not to marry him, and rushing into the marriage with him. And I heard me talking, and it's what this book, that book, it talks about. It's a book that shows women the importance of listening to your voice. God gave you that voice, and the
Yes.
question was, how you weren't, you asked me about writing about myself, um, because I'm so comfortable with me now. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't before, but because I'm so comfortable with me, and it's really funny. I've learned over the years is that not just women but men, but as a people, and I teach my daughter this all the time. You can't expect people to be comfortable with you when you're not comfortable with yourself. We
That's right.
What we do is we tend to put the responsibility of us on other people. And that's what I had done in my first marriage and my second marriage. I was making it these men's responsibility to love me, but I didn't even know how to love me. I was making it their responsibility to take care of me, but I didn't know how to take care of me. And I was making all this money, but I wasn't caring for me. Any woman who cares for her would never allow a man to just come in and change her entire life. Like
Yeah.
I would never do that again. I would never let somebody just be able to come in and I just change who I am to fit in with your life so everybody happy with me. That's
Mm-hmm.
never gonna happen again. But I was my close friends had started seeing my transformation. I had to literally leave church for a while and just be by myself with God because I was so wounded. I hated anybody who had anything to do with church. Like I hated it. Because my ex-husband was a pastor. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the church was covering him. And just being transparent. It's been 4 years now. But at that time I felt like the church was covering him. And I had seen it personally with other people that I had relationships with where the men in church were doing stuff and they were covered the quote unquote man of God.
Yeah.
From the elders to the congregation.
Making excuses for him. Yeah.
Right. And I know pastors' wives who gone through what I've gone through, and the churches turned on the pastor's wife to protect their pastor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I ended up going through that where people were protecting not the person who was being wrong or the children that was involved. So I had to get away and allow God to heal me, really, really heal me. And I started going through a healing process. But as I started healing, and I would see some of my friends, they were like, "Oh my God, you are so different. What did you do? Like, how did you change?" And I started telling them and sharing, and they were like, "You need to put that in the book. You really need to put that in the book. That needs to be in the book. Like, you are so different." And that's how I ended up writing the book. And she lives happily ever after because people will always say, "You seem so happy." I said, "I am. I'm happy because I've learned how to be happy with me, with not having the need to have somebody in my space."
Yeah.
That's the best gift that you can give to anybody you fall in love with. Falling in love with yourself first. I don't want to invite you to a party that I'm not enjoying.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So that's how that book came about. Yeah, that book, it changed my life first.
And I just had actually I was interviewed right before this interview, and we just had that discussion about dating, and I actually said that I said before you even date somebody, get yourself together first. Like you just said, don't invite somebody else into your party when your party's all jacked up. You got some sad music playing in the background. Don't nobody want to come to that party.
Right, exactly. And I always hear, I know I'm treading the waters here. I'm treading the waters. But I'm saying what I'm saying for a reason. Like I don't even really subscribe. Okay, hear my heart. I don't even really subscribe to when the women say I'm a wife in waiting. No, I'm single. Like I'm not a wife in waiting because you're not in the moment of being a single woman. If I'm a
Right.
wife in waiting, I'm preparing for my husband. I know what they mean. I get it. I know what they mean. But no, you should also remember to just enjoy being a single woman. Because if you're in preparation for something to come, you're not enjoying the moments that God has given you.
That's right.
So I'm not. So people would say I went to Keith Sweat concert February right before COVID hit, and my homegirl was like, "You going to the Keith Sweat concert?" I was like, "I sure am. Yes, I am." And she was like, "Who you going with?" I said, "Me." "You going by yourself?" I said, "Yes." Oh my God! And she just tripped out. I said, "I don't have to ask somebody permission. I don't have to consider nobody." I said, All my life I've been married. Like as an adult, I've been married my whole adult life. I've
Mm-hmm.
never known how to. I didn't know what I like. I've had to do everything in consideration of someone else, and that's good in timing. But I never learned how to consider me. Like I'm out to this concert, and I don't have to ask somebody else where you want to sit. No, I get to choose where I want to sit. I don't have to ask anybody where you want to go to dinner afterwards. No, I get to choose where I want to go to dinner afterwards. Now I ended up being that a friend of mine, her boyfriend was there when I met up with them afterwards, but we went separately. And then during the break, we hugged each other and loved it. And I went back to my chair happily, singing all the songs that I grew up with. But my thing was, I'm like, it is important for me to learn how to be with me.
Yes.
That is very important for me to make sure I can be home on my couch watching TV and I don't need nobody like, oh my God, I can't be alone. I can.
Okay.
But I had to learn because I didn't know how. And what happens is when you like that, and which is what the book talks about, you become codependent. And when you're codependent, you are a target for a classic narcissist or
Mm-hmm.
anybody who just takes advantage. It doesn't even have to be a narcissist, but you can be in a relationship with somebody that just takes advantage of you because that's because you're codependent.
You're
Um,
just needy.
so that is, say it again.
You're needy.
That is exactly what that means. And it's actually a scientific clinical term.
Yes.
Codependency is needy. You don't ever
Yes.
want to be needy because you give somebody else that power. And I wrote this book too because I want women to go back, get your power, and then say, okay, God, now whenever you're ready, I'm ready for my mate. But when you are looking for a mate and waiting for a mate to find you, and you're not enjoying the life that you have right now, you inviting somebody, like we said, you're gonna invite somebody to a party with the sad music, and it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be miserable. Because what happens when you get married and he's not paying you any attention because he's smart? Because it happens. I've been married
Yes.
twice, and it's mine somewhere else. Girl, let me tell you something. I don't plan on getting married again. That's just not my thing. That's just where I'm at in life right now. But my thing is though, if that ever was my story again, I don't need you to pay me any attention. Now it's good when it happens, but if you have a moment you need to go out with the guys, you need to go somewhere. I have gotten so good with paying attention to me, I might forget you in the room. Because that's what it means to be two whole people coming together. I don't need to be half glass full and he not paying me no attention. Okay, you're needy.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I got married and I was at the point you are right now, I had a ball going out to eat by myself, going to the movies by myself, went to Florida by myself, got the best hotel, had the best time ever. If I wanted to stay in my room, fine. If I want to go to the pool, fine. If I wanted to go, I went to Disney World by myself.
Oh, I love you.
Had a ball, took pictures, posted it like, you know what? I'm having the time of my life.
Yes. And people think something's wrong with that, like God made us to create us to be. Okay, that might be true in time. But right
Yes.
now, I'm with me, and people act like something wrong. Don't say you don't want to get married. I'm like, I don't. Like, I'm good. I've done it twice. I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
I've lived the dream. I've had my two children. I've built my house. The American dream. The dream. I've done it. Now I can
Right.
come back around, and I'm ready for that. Good. But right now, I'm really enjoying. I'm ready for COVID to be over, so I can take my first vacation alone. Like, I'm ready to go. Well, not my first. No, because it's been 4 years. Because I went to Martha's Vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
I went on my dream trip by myself.
Now,
So it's like, but we get told what life's supposed to look like for us, as opposed to what I teach my girls, because I do coaching for kids. What I teach my students is build your own dream house. You are your dream house. What do you want your house to look like? What do you want your life to look like? Don't let everybody have an opinion about the way your house is supposed to look. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? So if their house is husband and kids, then that's their house. If your house is being single and traveling the world as a studying abroad, then that's your house. But don't let somebody else's dream be your dreams. Have your own dream.
Yes. Now, you also wrote a children's book,
Yes.
The Adventures of LJ the Great. I am so proud of myself.
I like the way you say that. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
tell me how that got started.
So I work with children. I've been working with children for years. Even as a singer, I work with kids still. I've even spoken at Full Gospel Baptist Convention a couple of times. They brought me in as the keynote speaker for their youth. And so I even when I was trying to avoid working with kids because I didn't see the vision. At first, I didn't realize it was a gift of my life. I would just always be called to come and speak and sing for kids, and I just didn't get it. And then one day it hit me. Oh, I have a gift for kids. And so I went through a lot with my son Josh. We went through a lot. He'll be 15 to me. With my son Josh, who um, went through a lot of emotional stuff with his dad and I divorced. So he didn't know how to process it. And the schools constantly tried to label him. But he was always an honor student. And that was always my defense. You're trying to label him, but he's an honor student. Something else is going on. And then we eventually found out he was being abused by a teacher. She was physically, pinching him and dragging him across the room. Frustration, yes. And it really started making me think how important it is to listen to kids, to pay attention to kids, because as a child, I was molested, but because I was so young, I didn't know how to articulate. So I acted out in other ways. And a lot of times we label kids and we spank kids and we punish kids without finding out why they do what they do. So when I started working with the organization that I'm working with now, they were asking me about this little boy, and they were like, "Have you met, Travis?" I'll say Travis. "Have you met Travis yet?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, he bad." And so I hadn't met him yet, and I was like, "Oh," in my mind I'm thinking, I don't meet bad kids. Like that's the child. I don't know what bad kids are. I know what they mean, but behind every child is an adult. How about that? And so I was in my office. Well, I was in one of the classrooms actually, and they had several students come in that classroom with me because they weren't finished with their homework. And he kept messing with somebody. So the kid said, "Stop, Travis." And I looked up because I was like, "Oh, that must be Travis." I said, "Baby, you Travis?" And he said, "Yes, ma'am." And I said, "Come in." I said, "I heard a lot about you. What do you think I heard?" He said, "I'm bad."
Aww.
Girl, I wanted to fight everybody in that.
Aww.
Fight everybody.
Oh, baby.
He said, "I'm bad." I said, "You're not bad, and don't you ever let me hear you say it again." I said, "Don't you say that you're bad. You're not bad." I said, "You are a king and a great leader." I said, "What are you proud of?" And he couldn't think of anything. And I stood there with him until I think he thought of three things. And I said, and I just started teaching all the students that I work with, because I was already teaching it to my son, to tell me every morning before he went to school, three things that he was proud of. The little boy in the front of the book, I'm so proud of myself. That's actually Josh, my son, when he was younger. The missing tooth, all
Yeah.
that. There's a story behind it. He had his tooth knocked out as a kid, a little kid. We thought it wasn't going to come back, but it wasn't his permanent tooth from playing football. But that little boy just reminded me of Josh when he was little. And I said, I gotta write this book so our young Black boys and brown boys can be supported in knowing who they are, and teach them how to have self-confidence and know that they can be proud of themselves. And that's how that book actually came about, because of my son, and then me seeing my son in that little boy.
I'm glad you wrote that, because
Thank you.
the way our Black men are being treated right now.
Honey, listen, all day, every day. Yes, they gotta know who they are.
Yes, at a young age.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so crazy because they are being treated so less than. We totally get that. And at the same time, there are so many Black men doing well. Now, of course, systemic racism is still not allowing them to do as well as they could be doing. We know that to be true.
Yes.
But they're doing well. And my thing is, how often do we see great Black men? Like, because we're on LinkedIn, you and I have the honor to see that. But most of our kids are on Instagram and TikTok, and so they don't see the Ron Smiths. They don't know who the Ron Smith is, the Black male billionaire. They don't know who he is until he gives all those college students pay all their debt off.
Right.
So nobody knew. I knew who he was 2 or 3 years ago. I forgot how I knew. I guess because I think I remember now. But I didn't. I knew who he was before he did all that stuff. But how many of our boys know that? Know that there's a Black billionaire. There's a Black man that looks like them who is a billionaire. Instead of them hearing about Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, they always just hear about where Jay-Z now is a billionaire. But I'm like, no, a billionaire who's not an athlete,
or a rapper or anything like that. Right.
This man is totally not any of those. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just important for our children to see, Black and brown children in particular, to see positive images of them, and not just images of us being killed. because that
Yes.
is happening and it needs to be addressed and it is being addressed. And at the same time, they also need to be seen. You can also be that. You don't just walk through life and being afraid of being a dead man. You could be a successful man.
Yes.
Dead black man, you could be a successful black man.
That'll end all this mess.
Yes, because we got to get us people of color got to get more into these corporations. We got to be seen. We got to be heard. We got to be in places of power so we can cause change. Because even though LeBron James is a billion dollar man now, he's a $1 billion man. Somebody who on a team, the person that on the team ain't a black man.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying?
No, it's not.
So at the end of the day, yeah, but he don't own the team. And I always tell
No.
my son plays ball, and I always tell him, I said, but don't forget, you could also own the team.
Right. And I don't think they think about that. All those players are getting paid. Who's paying them? Right. And if they're paying them, they are making so much money that does not even bother them. Exactly. That don't even faze them.
Exactly.
Which brings me to, you just started yesterday doing virtual success coaching for kids.
Yep, our first session started, what's today? Tuesday? Our first session started yesterday. We started yesterday.
So what was your motivation for doing the virtual, besides I know the COVID and everything, but you didn't have to do that?
Because I feel like I can reach more kids virtual, because even the students that I work with here locally where I live, I've gone from managing 150 students for the organization I work for to 30.
Really?
Because of COVID. So parents have withdrawn their kids out of these programs just to be safe, which I totally get. You can't really connect with kids the way you used to. And I joined that organization to connect with kids. Like I joined that organization to do what I do best, which is coach and support kids. And COVID just changed all of that. All of that changed. And I just was feeling like alone. And I'm like, I don't want to just be doing this. This is not me. I'm not changing anything with kids by being in the office reporting to the Florida Department of Education, reporting to them how many kids we got, 30 kids. I want to be where I'm continuing to support kids. Well, I did that in the classroom. I was in the classrooms with the kids and with the teachers, visiting the principals, finding out what we need to do to help this child, visiting with the parent. Well, now the kids stopped being in school, and I lost all the connection with my kids. But I started seeing when I collected report cards at the end of the year to see how students were doing, it was clear to me that, at least in Florida, kids were they got pushed along because of COVID. So those weren't even real grades that I was looking at. And then a lot of our students weren't even logging in. They weren't even logging in to do the work. But they passed. And they're crazy. And so my thing is, kids need to be supported, because a lot of times we look for kids to do well academically, but sometimes it's hard for kids to do well academically when they're emotionally a wreck. And a lot of kids, we take for granted that adults are stressed out. And I'm like, you don't think kids are stressed out? They're stressed out. That's the reason why a lot of times they're on games, because they are trying to avoid dealing with reality. They're just trying to find something to distract them.
Yes.
So I've sat with a lot of kids in my time working with kids and just realized somebody needs to listen to their why. Kids, why. I had a student that I used to work with. He was arrested for 6 felony robbery. And when I met him, because I used to work with high risk kids for a while that had records. Mm-hmm. I know him. I was just like, I looked at his file. I said, not him. Like, he always smiling, cool kid. So I rushed in my office. I said, okay, you gotta talk to Miss Lisa. I said, you gotta talk to me, because this doesn't make sense to me. How did this happen? Like, how do you have 6 felony robbery? You facing 25 years, the life. Like, what am I? What? And it just reminded me that this is still a child. Oftentimes we look at what a child does and we forget that they're still children. And children, their brains are still developing. They don't think like adults. He said, well, his younger brother and sister, he was 15. They had just been taken by the Children, Family and Services. They just took them. And he said, I needed to keep my phone on because my number is the only number that they have, and they need to be able to reach me. And so me being an adult at first was like, well, why you just didn't get a job? And he was like, because I couldn't wait for the check. I needed money right. And it made so much sense. It don't make it right, but I got what he was thinking. The judge and the attorneys, the prosecutors are looking at, he robbed somebody. He
Right.
looking at my brother and sister going somewhere. They don't know where they at. I don't know where they at. They need to reach me. So if something wrong, I can go get my brother and sister. So when I work with kids now, I hear those that are the educators and even the workers. They're so quick. It's easy to just judge the what, but I love the fact that I get to go behind the scenes and pull them in my office and say, okay, what's going on? Why? Coaching for me allows the kids to have a voice. The one girl, one of my new students, at the end, I was wondering how we were going to click because I met her mom first. And sometimes parents would sign her kids up, and I'm not sure if the kids really wanted to do it or was it just the parent. And so she was one of those kids. I met her at the session. I met her, and at the end, I asked her, do you have any questions for. And she's like, no. She said, you just make it so easy to talk. And that was just so rewarding because that's my job. I want you to feel like you can talk to somebody, and then I can be able to tell mom she's okay because parents are nervous. They don't know what's going on because the child won't open up to them. And that because I got two kids of my own. My son has three mentors, and I know he doesn't always talk to me. I'm mom. It's like, oh, that's mom. Okay, don't talk to me. Then go talk to your mentor. Go talk to Mr. Rashid. Go talk to Mr. Josh. Go talk to your basketball coach Donna. Go talk to them, but talk to somebody.
Yes.
And so my passion is to support kids and being in their greatness because kids get lost. They get lost and they need somebody to help them make better choices in life. And so that's what we do at Success Coaching. I teach kids how to make better choices because oftentimes kids get confused because their friend did something that worked for them. But I have to teach kids that what worked for your friend may not work for you. That's just like me and my daughter. She can eat a loaf of bread. I can't. I have a gluten intolerance. I'm allergic to gluten. I'm allergic to wheat. If I eat the same bread that's fine for her, you don't have to rush me to the hospital. We have to teach kids that what works for your friends may not work for you. Now, teach you how to make the best choice for you.
What two things would you like to do next?
Travel and sing more. I tried to start singing again, but it was clear to me it's not time. I just felt like Holy Spirit was telling me, don't push it. You're trying to
Mm-hmm.
make it. I feel like God has positioned me right now to be there for children. And there's going to be a way I'm going to be able to match those two together. But right now, it's not the time. I know it. God spoke that to me. But when my season changed, I want to get back into traveling. There are a lot of places I want to see, and I want to be able to just grace the stage with music and just conversation, and just marry the two together, and just affect the world that way. But right now, COVID is making it very difficult. So I'm just being patient.
Now, what advice would you give someone who wants to live their life and their purpose?
Get to know yourself. So if you can imagine how you would get to know another person, do yourself the same way. Have conversations with yourself. Check in with yourself often. I do it all the time. I ask myself, be walking up the stairs and I'm like, how you doing? I know how you really doing. And I'm like, I'm good. You sure? I'm like, yeah, y'all good. I literally do that. I've been doing it for about 2 or 3 years now. And I have such great conversations with myself that I know me. So that's important because when someone else tries to tell you who you are, they can't because you already know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So like I went through a season where somebody really, really dear to me because they couldn't control me said that I was crazy because they couldn't control me. So they were trying to get in my head. They said it devastated me, and because I value their opinion of me and I had no opinion of me, I started saying, well, dang, am I crazy? Dang, I don't know. Maybe I am. And as I got to know me, I was like, no, you're not. As a matter of fact, with a friend of mine, really, really close friend of mine, he said to me, he's like, no, you're not crazy. Don't let you ever let me hear you say it again. He's like, don't let their opinion of you cause you to take on their opinion. You need to get to know who you are. And I had to start doing that. So,
Mm-hmm.
my advice to people is get to know you because, like I always tell my son, every morning I tell you to say you're a great king and a great leader because it's important for you to tell you who you are before the world tells you who it wants you to be.
Absolutely.
That's so important. So when I
Yeah.
see TV and I see something crazy on television, I be like, I don't want that. Like I've tried to watch certain shows, and because I know who I am, I'm like, I don't want to see that, and I'll change. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, I know me. That way, when I meet somebody, maybe a love interest, a potential love interest, I don't settle because I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And nobody can't come in and say, well, girl, you better just take that man. Men are scarce. No, it ain't. God, there's no lack in God. There's no lack. I don't want to hear that. I'll wait. I think sometimes we settle because we fear lack. We don't know who we are. We don't know we have the right to have what we want. I just know who I am, and it just took me getting to know me. So that's very important. Know you first, because you can't expect other people to get to know you and to support you if you don't know you and you don't support yourself.
Yes. I'm with you, right. When there's something on TV I'm not feeling, especially the news and all that, I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I watch just enough to be informed and I'm gone because
Right.
I don't want that energy on me all day. I don't. I'm too happy. I'm too happy. I don't need that.
Right. Yeah, I was getting drenched. I'm an NPR fanatic. I have not listened to NPR in about 6 months. I had to stop.
Yeah.
And I was just now I do it on the weekends now because I love the stories, I love little documentary stories and people around the world and stuff. But I would hear the news all day about what the new administration is doing and how the Democrats and the Republicans are fighting again. And I just was like, and it just felt the spirit of fight over me. And I just had to stop. I said, no, what am I feeding my spirit? And I had to stop. I had to shut that stuff down. So I'm like you. I tap in a little bit on YouTube to see, okay, that's what's going on. Okay, I'm good. And I just have to stop the rest of my life. Like I don't have time.
Nope, not at all. Then I'll find something more entertaining to watch or listen to. I'm like,
Right.
I cannot do it. So how can people contact you?
Go to my new website, Lisa McClendon Success Coaching. And my information to be reached there. You can also email me at Lisa McClendon Music, which is simple. But yeah, definitely check out the website, Lisa McClendon Success Coaching, and you can send me a message through there as well.
But you didn't lie. Your tone is so relaxing.
Ah,
Because I was listening to your music when I was trying to, get all my questions together. Girl, I couldn't focus. I said, let me cut her off because I can't even get nothing together. I'm sitting there just all in the moment. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm supposed to be concentrating, but
thank you that with you. Thank you.
girl,
Thank
I
you.
was like, I just zoned out. I said, that's just foolishness.
Thank you for that. Thank you. That's such a blessing.
You are so welcome. All right. So I got one last question for you. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Okay. Before I ask you the question, I'm going to say this. You cannot use anything from your catalog.
Okay.
All right. If you can have any song be your theme song when you walked into a room, what would it be and why?
I never knew love like this before.
Come on now.
You know why? You know why? And that's
Why?
weird. I would think of that. When it's kind of weird to say it. When I married husband number 2, like again, it sounds weird. I would always hear that song in my head, and I was like, "Man, this is the love of my life," and da 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 da. And I've never been in love, and no, nothing against him, but I never had that love for me. Like I was giving my all to this new relationship. And then when life hit and I was single again, and I was down for a bit. And then the more I started learning how to love me, that song came back. That no, the real love that I never know like this before, besides the love that I have with God, is to love myself, to love the creation that God has made me. And so now when I hear that song, I think about myself. I
That
never
is
knew
so
love like
dope.
this. I never knew, like, I didn't know I was such a dope individual. Like, I was like, girl, you are it. Like, you, I be
You
like,
the
you did that.
shiznit.
Yes. And I be going in on me. I'm like, oh, you did that. And like, if I messed up or something, I'd be like, who you talking to like that? You don't get to talk to her like that. Like, I do have those conversations. Like, I don't give myself permission to down myself. I don't give myself permission to beat myself up. I be like, no, we don't do that. So I defend me like I would defend anybody else because I've learned loving me is so important, and it's the key to me loving everybody else in the world. I have to know how to do it with me.
You know what? I'm gonna take that. I really am. And you just spoke to my own spirit because there are days where I would look in the mirror, I'll be like, COVID make me sick. I done picked up here and there and everywhere that ain't supposed to be there. And I will start beating myself up about it. And I'm not gonna do that no more. I've been working on it anyway, But you're right. If I'm so quick to fight for somebody else, why can't I fight for myself?
Listen. And what you gonna do is look and say, yeah, I don't pick up I'm a little thick, I don't pick up a little something, something. But everybody don't pick up a little something, something. And then what's inside ain't changed.
That's right.
Because I looked in the mirror the other day. I just so you feel. I looked in the mirror the other day. I had no makeup on. I was looking in the mirror. I was like, "Oh, girl." I said, if you was married, you couldn't walk around the house like this." And I said, "But you're married." And I just started laughing in the mirror. I was like, "But you ain't, and you can walk around here look anywhere you want to look. You want to look like." Yeah, I was just like, because, and I stopped and said, "You know why that's important to hear, Lisa? Because who you really are has nothing to do with makeup.
That's right.
You are still the same fun-loving, funny girl that's gonna walk down these stairs making a joke, looking at TV, laughing at stuff. You are the same woman. And when you want to get cute, you know how to get cute.
Come on now."
So thank you. That was a beautiful question. Yeah, I never knew I liked this before.
Yes. Don't start singing, then I've been lost somewhere and forgot you was on here.
She done left again. Concentrate.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and enjoy your evening.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Lisa, for this awesome opportunity to talk to you. It was just like having girl talk with your girl next door, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to a girl like me. And if you would like to be on Worldly Church Girl, click the link below, shoot me an email, and let's see what we can do with that thing. And yo, you still haven't subscribed. What are you waiting on? There are so many great stories and so many good people that are coming your way. You don't want to miss a thing. And as always, thanks for joining your one and only Worldly Church Girl.